Imagine somebody sitting in a dark room. They're comfortable and unaware of their surroundings until somebody flips on the light and suddenly they see cockroaches crawling all over the floor. Now, instead of dealing with the infestation, they scream at the person who turned on the light, demanding they turn it back off, as if that will make the cockroaches disappear. Donald Trump has turned on the light for Canadians, and most of us don't like what we see. Now, most people I talk to are focused on the cockroaches. They understand that it's not a foreign leader's job to give us good deals. It's our job to arrive at the negotiating table in a position of strength and get a good deal for ourselves. But not everybody feels that way. And look, I understand. It's easier to point the finger at the man who turned on the light, demand he shut us back into our blissful ignorance and let us sleepwalk for another 10 years. But you show me a Canadian who thinks Donald Trump is the enemy, and I'll show you a Canadian who's had their head in the sand for the last decade. America is stronger than Canada, and yes, they're going to use that strength to their advantage in trade deals. Show me somebody who thinks it's unacceptable for a powerful country to leverage their position over a weaker one, and I'll show you somebody who's never studied history. Canada does have a villain, but it's not Trump. It's the same villain we've had for the last 10 years. So if you're outraged about the threat of tariffs, demanding fairness, then tell me, where was your outrage when Germany's chancellor arrived at our door asking to buy our natural gas and we turned him away because, quote, we couldn't make a business case for selling a resource that we have in abundance? Where was your outrage when the Prime Minister of Japan asked the same, only to be met with the same refusal? Where was your outrage when we systematically dismantled every energy project that could have diversified our customer base? Or when we wasted the advantage of having the longest coastline in the world, spanning 3 oceans with limitless potential for deep-water ports and global trade, choosing instead to focus on gender language in government documents? If you weren't outraged then spare me the outrage now. I believe most of the tariff talk is just theatrics. I think much of it is hypocrisy, and I don't see any historic evidence of tariffs achieving their goals over the long term. But I do believe that the American president is doing his job. He's going to bat for Americans. And it might be hard for Canadians at this moment in history to understand that some elected leaders go to bat for their electorate. So again, I understand the confusion. And no, if you think I've been lulled into some fallacy of altruistic politics, I haven't. President Trump will go to bat for Americans, and he's going to make himself and his family unfathomably rich in the process. Days before taking office, the president and his family began selling Trump and Melania crypto tokens, and the market cap of the Trump token quickly climbed to nearly $15 billion. Melania Trump has been seeking a buyer for a documentary about her transition back to First Lady. Now, both Netflix and Apple declined to make any offers. Disney offered her $14 million. But after a dinner at Mar-a-Lago in December, Jeff Bezos agreed to buy the documentary for $40 million, the most Amazon has ever paid for a documentary, and nearly 3 times the competing bid. Now, why would they do that? Amazon said, not because her husband's the president, they said it's because we are truly excited to share this unique story. And Melania's cut of that $40 million, 70%. Donald Trump Jr. has also been capitalizing. A company called Public Square Holdings recently appointed him as a board member and a consultant with a healthy stock position and a $42,000 monthly advisory fee. Why? Not because his dad's the president, because, and I quote, he's got really good insights into different types of investor segments. Another company that manufactures drones recently named Don Jr. as an advisor, and the firm's shares rocketed 250% over the next 2 days, earning Don Jr. $1.6 million in 24 hours. It goes on. Don Jr. is collecting board seats like Justin Trudeau collects pronouns. And I could keep going, but you get it. Now, Do I think any of this is right? No, I don't. I think it's deplorable. But it doesn't matter what I think. There is how I wish the world worked and how it really does. When we first heard about all these tariffs, all the headlines said it was because of drugs at the border. Now you tell me, is America's voracious appetite for narcotics a new thing? American authorities can and have blamed Colombia, Mexico, China, Canada. But as long as there's limitless demand in the country, somebody is going to supply. But I have a question. If it was really ever about drugs, who is it that controls the flow of traffic moving south at the Canadian-American border? Answer, the same country that controls the northbound traffic at the Mexican-American border. So if illicit substances are entering America in unacceptable numbers, can you spot the common denominator? The ironic part of this whole thing is the American government's history of protecting the suppliers of drugs they claim to be at war with. The CIA's complicity in the South American cocaine or the Afghan opium trade is no longer a guarded secret. Are we going to read about their involvement with fentanyl at some point in the future? The smart money says, yes, we will. So what's the point? When it comes to Canadians, it's time to stop yelling at the man who turned on the light. Let's deal with the real problem. Step 1, acknowledge that we have a problem. Acknowledge that Canada has squandered economic opportunities, kneecapped its own industries, and allowed political distractions to take precedence over national prosperity. Step 2, demand leadership that prioritizes Canada's strengths, not just in slogans, but in action. We need leaders who will build infrastructure, expand our trade partnerships, and ensure that Canada is never again in a position where it has to beg for fair treatment at the negotiating table. And step 3, stop being afraid of hard truths. The world is competitive. The strong do what they want and the weak suffer what they must. Our only option is to make sure that we are strong. Donald Trump could be the best thing that has ever happened to Canadians if we are willing to take accountability for our situation and change it. Pointing the finger does us no good. The light is on. The question is, are we finally ready to do something about it?